Meanwhile, President Biden is facing mounting global challenges ahead of tomorrow's major speech to the UN General Assembly, especially when it comes to Afghanistan. We've learned the family of innocent civilians killed in a recent U.S. drone strike in Kabul are now demanding justice. They're calling for an investigation, compensation, and relocation to the U.S. or another country deemed safe. 10 people were killed, including 7 children, during the strike, which happened on August 29th. The Pentagon called it a, quote, tragic mistake. For more on this, let's bring in Christina Ruffini. She's joining us from Washington. Christina, provide some context for us here. What was the Pentagon's main target in this drone strike? And the second question is, what will be done to help those survivors?
Well, you know, the Pentagon took this strike in the days and hours after that horrific bombing at the gate at HKIA. You know, that explosion was at the Abbey Gate, where a lot of Americans, a lot of European passport holders, and frankly, a lot of journalists had sent people hearing that that was the gate to go to because there was this trench of water that you've seen in some of the photos. And I was instructed at one point, if you send your person there, they can stand in this disgusting knee-deep water and hold up their passports, and it gives us from the gate a lot of time to look down and be able to see these people and go out and get them. And that's what we hear some of the Marines were doing when that ISIS-K bomber set off their explosives, and that's why so many of them were tragically killed. So look, this was already a lot of criticism. It was a fraud operation. It was a mess. And then you had this explosion, and the Pentagon and the White House needed to hold someone accountable. So they said they were monitoring an ISIS-K compound. They saw this vehicle pull into this compound or near this compound. They followed this white Toyota around Kabul with 6 different drones for about 8 hours, saw them loading things into the car. They say they thought there were explosives. CBS has aired security video footage. It's jugs of water. The guy was an aid worker, you know, utilities, everything in Kabul were falling apart. He needed water for his family, and that's what he was loading into the car when they decided to fire and take out the car because they incorrectly somehow believed it was a terrorist target, and he was about to target the airport because the compound he pulled into was near the airport, and they were very concerned. They had a lot of intelligence saying another attack was imminent. But almost immediately in the aftermath, the family started coming out and saying, you know, you killed 7 children, you killed an aid worker, these were innocent people, these were people who were applying for visas to go to the United States. You made a mistake, you made a mistake. And after initially calling it a righteous strike, the Pentagon now admitted it was a mistake and it accidentally killed innocent civilians. One of the things it used to say that the strike was justified was there is a secondary explosion after the drone fired. They said that was evidence there were explosives in the back of the truck. It was a massive explosion that leveled the compound. It was a propane tank nearby. So it was a huge mistake, and it's devastating, and it's unclear exactly what the United States will do to try to compensate. Not that you can ever compensate a family for this kind of loss, but you know, in the past the U.S. has made payments, rather paltry payments, around $2,500 for civilians killed in Afghanistan. Some of the relatives have said they want to come to the U.S. That's what the U.S. can do to try to make up for this. It's TBD as to what exactly the United States is going to do, but they have said they've made a mistake.
And Christina, you've been following all along the latest developments on the evacuations out of Afghanistan. Are there still Americans trying to escape? I know you were in contact with some.
There are still some Americans, although there has been some progress. Look, over last week, sorry, I'm losing track of the day. Today's Monday, right? Correct.
Yes.
The end of last week, we did see some movement. It's been, you know this, Vlad. It's been a long couple weeks.
Long, yes.
We did see some movement at an airstrip in northern Afghanistan where a bunch of those charter flights had been held by the Taliban. The Taliban was saying, look, we don't know who's on these flights. We can't let anybody without paperwork, without visas. We're not just going to let people take off. There's 2 ways to look at that. One, initially the State Department had said, look, that's a valid concern. Any government being used loosely here, any government would require people leaving the country, or any government where these planes are going to land are going to require these people to have passports or paperwork. So you can't just get a bunch of people on a plane and fly them to another country. After criticism from veterans groups, from aid workers, from members of Congress saying there are American citizens, there are Afghan allies trying to get out, the State Department kind of changed its tune and said that's not a valid reason to hold these flights. And I asked Secretary Blinken about this at a press conference, and he said those flights need to move. Indeed, at least one of those flights has been able to take off and land in Doha. We've also seen several charters from Qatar Airways. The Qataris have really done the heavy lifting here, taking off from HKaya. Now that airport in Kabul is not officially reopened, but they've been running some humanitarian flights, some aid flights, and some of these charters are getting out. And there have been American citizens, legal permanent residents, and some Afghan allies getting out on those flights. However, we believe there are still some Afghans and some Americans left in Kabul, in Afghanistan, who would like to leave and are not yet getting out. And the longer it takes them to get out, the harder it's probably going to be for them to do so.
Christina, let me switch gears here a bit and ask about President Biden and French President Emmanuel Macron, who are expected to speak on the phone this week. This is all surrounding that controversy between the U.S., U.K., and Australia, this new pact that they signed aimed at countering China. Explain why France is so outraged by this.
Yeah, the French are très, très fâchés, really, really angry, as you know what that means. It's very strange because when the Biden administration came into office, they said, internationalism is back. Secretary Blinken speaks French. He spent a long time, he spent his high school years in Paris. He's very close to the French. And I think there was this optimism that there would be a greater outreach towards Europe, especially after the Trump years when Europe kind of, wasn't the favorite son of the White House. So this is very strange because one of the reasons the U.S. or President Biden said he wanted to get out of Afghanistan was to focus on strategic priorities like China. So in that vein, it makes sense, right? We are going to redouble our efforts in the Indo-Pacific. And to that end, the U.S. announced it would be selling nuclear-powered submarines to the Australians, which is a big deal because the U.S. doesn't share that technology easily. The problem with that is the Australians had a $36 billion contract with the French to build conventional diesel submarines, a contract that had been going on for years, a contract that was summarily canceled when the Aussies announced, hey, we're going to buy these better shiny subs from the U.S. Apparently, no one told the French. There were no consultations about this in advance. One French diplomatic source told me they learned about it in Politico. So the French were just outraged, not only that they hadn't been included in this new strategic alliance between the UK, the Australians, and the US, but that it also cost them billions of dollars. And I think just on principle, the fact that another ally would treat a European ally like this in the wake of this kind of thing happening for the past 4 years, they thought this was over, and they're just kind of reeling from the shock. So France has recalled its ambassador to the United States and to Australia, which is a big move back to Paris for consultations, and there's no word yet if or when they will return.
All right, Christina Ruffini reporting for us from Washington. As always, Christina, thank you. It is Monday.
Thanks, Vlad. Nice to see you. I'll get a calendar.